दोषे रेते कुलघ्नानां वर्णसंकर कारकेः उत्साद्यन्ते जाति धर्मा कुल धर्माश्च shashvata. Hello friends, this is the 43rd shlok of the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and in today's video we will understand this shlok in detail. So let's first understand its meaning. So the shlok says doshe rete kulgnanam, which means by taking the blame for killing the family. Varna sankar karkeh, which means by mixing the varnas. Utsadhyante jati dharma, which means we destroy the dharma of the jati or the clan, kul dharmascha shashvata, and the dharma of the family forever. So over here, Arjun is repeating what he has been saying in the past few shloks, that by killing our own family members and by causing the mixing of the varnas, we end up destroying the dharma of the jati or the clan and the family forever. Now, in this shlok, although the message has been repeated, which shows how important this message is, we have to understand the usage of three words by Arjun. So, in the one shlok over here, Arjun uses three words, which is Varna, Jati, and Kul. So, it clearly shows that these three are associated with each other. Now, in the modern times, with the Hindutva wave that has been going on in India, a lot of people say that Varn and Jati are not related with each other. Varn is your quality, and Jati is your clan and is associated with your birth, and so they should not be mixed together. But this shlok by itself shows that these ideas have been associated with each other. Varn, Jati, and Kul, as such, are associated, and we have to understand their relationship, because we have seen it throughout history that wrong understanding of the facts lead to wrong assumptions, and wrong assumptions lead to wrong traditions to come into practice in a society, and these wrong traditions have then led to the fall of the society. So it's very important that we have a good understanding of the society, so that we can make right assumptions, and with right assumptions we make right traditions, which will lead to the growth of the society. So we should understand the relationship between Varn and Jati, and do not get me wrong, I am not really saying that I am anti-Hinduism or anti-Hindutva. I am not anti anything. I am just interested in understanding the truth. So let's understand the truth over here. So what you have to understand is that we as human beings are basically a genetic code, you can say, and our characteristics are determined by the genes that we have, and our genes are the ones that we inherit from our parents. Therefore, our characteristics are determined by our parents. Also, when we are children, our parents basically guide us in terms of how to live our life, and therefore the sanskars that we develop from our childhood basically are coming from our parents themselves. So you can say that our characteristics, which basically determine our varn, is determined to a certain extent by the genes of our parents and by their sanskar. So our characteristics in that way are to a certain extent determined by the family in which we take birth. Therefore, our characteristics or our varn is related to our jati. Jati, as we know, is a word which comes from the root ja, which is associated with our birth, and this is what actually gives rise to the word janma also, which means birth basically. So our varn is associated by our jati, because our genetics and our sanskars are associated with our parents, and that is why we cannot really say that jati and varn are not associated. They are associated. You have to understand that the traditional Indian society, or ancient Indian society actually, was a melting pot where people from all the different parts used to come. Now, in those times, of course, since the means of communication and the means of transport were not as convenient as they are right now, so you have to think of it in terms of the geographical area also, that the geographical areas over which people moved in those times were much smaller than how they are right now, but people used to move around. And so India, as such, being a fertile land, was a melting pot where people from all different geographies used to come, and you have the evidence of that also. Look at Bengal itself. You can see how it is a melting pot where people from the eastern states, from the Bangladeshi area, from the Bihar area, from the Uttar Pradesh area, Jharkhand area, and the Chhattisgarh area used to come and form a melting pot over there. And so people used to communicate, form their own societies per se. And so this used to lead to the creation of the jati. You can compare that with the situation in United States right now, where people from all over the world come and congregate. You'll see people from all different parts of the world coming over here. There are the blacks, there are the Hispanics, there are the Asians, there are the whites. All of these people are coming over here, and you can see that how all these groups get characterized. For example, the Asian Americans get characterized as people who are highly educated. The Jews are characterized as people who are highly educated. The Hispanics are characterized as the people who do the blue collar job. The whites are characterized as the Europeans who have established the whole system over here. So they are considered as the political elites. So all these people get characterized, and to a certain extent, you can see that the characteristics get passed along during generations. There is a reason why people of Asian descent are more education oriented, because the people there, that their parents have been more education oriented, they have come to United States as highly skilled people, and so their characteristics get transmitted down the line with their children also. So those were the kind of things that were happening in Indian society, because of which all these Varna system came into existence and all these jatis came into existence. And in the modern American society, we can see that there is some amount of restriction, you can say, or some amount of hesitation that these different social societies have in terms of mixing with each other. You can think of it like this: if you want to preserve the Hindu dharma in the American society, then you have to make sure that your children marry with other Hindus only. They do not mix up with the people from, say, the Hispanic society, because if that will happen, then the Hindu dharma by itself is gonna it's gonna go down, and the prominence of that Hindu dharma is gonna decrease. So that is the kind of feeling that Arjun has in his mind, because of which he is talking over here that by killing all my Hindus over here, I'm gonna lead to basically the destruction of the society, where people will then have to marry outside the society, and when they'll have to marry outside the society, the Hindu dharma by itself is going to get destroyed. So there is a parallel that you can see with that over here. So those are the reasons why this idea of Varn and Jati actually came into existence. You have to now understand that in Gita, of course, this has been shown as the delusion of Arjun. So Gita does not really tell you that you should give a lot of importance to this thing. Gita will tell you that you have to give more importance to the establishment of dharma and to live the right kind of life, where your values are basically in conjunction with the society around you and towards the well-being of every person who is there in the society around you. So you have to always keep in mind, but you have to also understand why these traditions actually came into existence. You have to also understand that in Indian society, the caste system came into existence, and if somebody was following a rigid caste system, then this means that the Indian society was not following the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, and you can understand how this led to the destruction of the Hindu society in itself. So those are the deeper things that you have to understand. I hope I've explained this shlok well to you. It might be getting a little repetitive over here, but the thing is that we are going into a lot of depth, and when we want to go into a lot of depth, it takes a lot of time. So we are making slow progress, but we are understanding Gita very deeply. So I hope you are enjoying these videos. Stay with me like this. I will keep covering all these shloks one by one, and by the end of 2 years, you will understand Gita very, very deeply. So I hope you're enjoying these videos. With that, I'll close this video. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.